Oh, okay, alrighty. Thanks everyone for coming to the All ERC Devs, the fourth session. This is a place where we bring ERC authors and the app builders to come together, share their learnings, share their proposals, and give each other feedback or solicit feedback. And we also hope that this brings inspiration to new standardization, to new adoptions as well. With that, my name is Victor. I'm one of the ERC authors and ERC editors. I'm trying to facilitate this. And we have Vitor Minakori today, Ivan and Cole, and also our good old friend Poja, who have facilitated as a Ethereum cat herders all the time. So maybe everyone can give a one-line introduction of you and your most active involvement in the space, so that everyone else can kind of recognize you as well. So Vitor, do you want to go first?
Yes. Hi everybody. I am Vittorio Minacori. I'm from Italy. I'm the CEO of Nomset, a startup with the core business in building a web app and blockchain and smart contracts application. Today we will speak about the ERC 1363. And so introduce yourself, and so we can start later. Thank you for involving me in this meeting.
Yeah, then welcome and thanks for the time. Ivan, do you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. My name is Evan. I have been kind of working at the edges of the Ethereum ecosystem for 4 or 5 years at this point. And I'm here today to talk about a project that I'm working on called Chain Relay, which is just a tool to help people deploy ERC specs. And so I kind of envision it being useful for builders, mostly like Ethereum builders who are looking to test applications they're working on, or share implementations that they've built of a ERC spec or something like that. So it's still in the early stages, but looking to share that and just get feedback if there is any, and also hear the other topics today. That's it.
Yeah, thank you, Evan. Sorry I mispronounced your name. Really bad at that. And then yeah, I appreciate your time and
no problem.
Show up. Cole, nice meeting you. I wonder if you can hear us.
Yes.
Introduce yourself a little bit, and good to see you, by the way.
I'm Kokujimura. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to talk about my first ERC proposal. Today, I'm going to talk about TCTC, which is token-controlled token circulation. My background will be talk in the later, so that's all at this moment. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah. So with that, really appreciate your show up. And Poja, I think a lot of people already know you, but I just in case, and everyone who you can introduce yourself as well, if it's okay for you.
Hey everyone, I'm Pooja Ranjan. I am with the Ethereum cat herders. We have been trying to support all sort of proposals, ERC code, interface, networking, and all sort of proposals. And it's a really good initiative by Victor to have this all ERC Dev meeting started. It's a good way to reach out to ERC Dev people who are actually involved in developing this standard, plus working on different projects. So as always, I'm super excited to be a part of it. Thank you, Victor, for organizing this.
Thank you, Poja. Yeah, appreciate your help. So today's first topic would come from Vittorio. I think is one of the earliest piece of standardization I looked into, which is the payable token. A big dream for me is to have tokens being used for paying things and actually make them utility rather than only holding value to trade. And I think Vittorio is one of the pioneer and also has gained adoptions in many ways. And so I think the purpose of his talk would be sharing your experience and how you come up with this idea, what you learned over the course of standardizing it, what were you having the trade-off. And I think this is the way how we learn from people who already achieved adoptions and things. So if you can, we would love to hear about how this process has treated you, and also the learning and the suggestion for new authors. Yeah. And meanwhile, if you have questions, just chime in. We anticipate to talk about this in like 15 to 20 minutes, including if there's questions.
Okay, thank you for your introduction. Yes, I am the main purpose of the ERC 1363 is to make the user able to make another action after an ERC20 transfer in a single transaction, because I started working on this idea in 2018 because I need to track user contribution in a single smart contract, but that holds several different projects. So in 2018, onboarding new users is not as simple as today, because people are not used to waiting for a transaction confirmal. I mean, for approval an ERC20 token, then waiting, then make another transaction, waiting again. Maybe they waste time to create their wallet or deposit Ethereum to pay gas. So it's a little bit more complicated than today. Also, the tools are missing. Then we had MetaMask, the first wallet that help the developers to onboarding people. So can I share my screen? So yes, just
Go ahead and share. I was about to ask you if you want to share your screen.
okay. Do you see the screen?
Yeah, I think I can see you.
Yeah.
Yes. So the proposal is now in the final status after a couple of discussion about. So the main goal, the main motivation is to have an ERC20 compatible token that can be used for payments. Payments is the first case we worked on. As you know, there may be many cases where user can perform an action after transferring or approving a token. So for instance, you can use it to create a crowd sale or for selling service using token, or paying an invoice. Maybe you can generate an invoice number and then you want to pay it for in the same transaction, you transfer the token. Making subscription, anyway, you can use for any purpose you can require a callback after a transfer or an approval. So it basically is a way, it's a feature that enable users to transfer tokens and simultaneously invoking a function on the receiver contract. So it is fully compatible with the ERC20 token because it's not. When I started working on, I explored the current Ethereum proposal status, but I cannot find a token that satisfies our requirements because maybe they override the ERC20 behavior, breaking the standard or missing something. So the ERC 1363 adds the transfer and call methods, or the transfer from and call, or the approve and call. They are the equivalent of the ERC20 methods, but can accept the a data in the method signature. So and any contract that want to accept token payments can implement the ERC 1363 receiver or the ERC 1363 spender interface. The approach is similar to the NFT protocol, the ERC 721. For this reason, the interface extend the ERC 165. So the user can be able to understand if the token is a compatible interface by using the method signature, the interface signature. Also with the receiver or the spender contract. This is a repository where I worked on to give my own implementation. So we can see the it's quite simple because the implementation just add a check on transfer or on approval received method that can be called after the transfer or approve method from the standard ERC20. So for instance, the check on transfer received verify that the recipient contact address is a contract, otherwise revert. And then try to call the on transfer receiver received on the recipient contract. It must return the selector to be a valid transfer. Otherwise, it reverts with giving the message that the receiver is not a valid implementer, or returns the original message. If you see it, it's a simple implementation. Then in the same
that was the time when error and revert were not even like well supported, right? So you have to do some magic of assembly. Oh, you did. Okay, and you also add the assembly for exposing the reason.
This one, if the contract does not implement the interface, or maybe it's an address, or there are no reason in the contract. We don't know what is the receiver contract. Maybe something that is not an error. Maybe another reason, maybe to prevent user to making two transactions and transfer a token to a contract and lost the tokens. No, so if the contract is not a valid receiver, we can revert using this message, or else if the contract returns an error, we can revert emitting the same the received error message. We will try to understand later in depth, because the full repository is tested with 1,100 coverage, so we can see the test later. Yes, for instance, the transfer call can transfer call. Okay, so if the receiver is not a contract, we expect to have the transfer to not contract address. That is this one. Otherwise, if it's an unexpected value, the receiver return wrong data because we are using a mock contract to test. This one.
So you also provided. So you also provided the unit test and integration test alongside with your reference implementation, right?
This is not in the official proposal, because the reviewer says that we cannot share our implementation, because I don't remember the reason in the discussion. We can search in the pull request. So there is no link here in the official AP, but it is on NPM, so you can search by payable token.
So you provided a reference implementation, provide weld integrated test and unit test. And also, in addition to that, you also provided an NPM package to make it easier for people to use the payable token standard that you propose, right?
Okay. Yes, the unit tests are in the test folder, so you can test it, or you can check the README, where you can find how to extend the ERC 1363 or other example. For instance, the ERC 135able. Let's say my own implementation of a utility contract for accept payment or callback via token. This is a contract where we can define a valid token in the constructor. And then on transfer receiver, we can invoke a transfer received method. So user can extend this one and override the behavior based on their stuff, their contract. This is also test for this in the test contract, in the test folder. Yeah.
This is great.
So this is the error returned if the contract is not an interface implementer. So you can understand if you are calling the wrong contract, or if something gone wrong, or what is the reason. For instance, if we have a mock saying this message, we can launch this error on. We can throw this error into our contract. And then, in the example folder, there are some example. For instance, the payable crowd sale is just for fun, so just to understand how to use the standard, what you can do. So extend the ERC 1363 payable we have seen before. It's a standard crowd sale from 2018 where you can define the rate, the wallet, and the token you want to sell. This is a classic ERC20 we want to sell. And when on transfer received or on approval received, this is important. When you are receive an approval, you can first transfer the token into the contract itself, and then we call the buy tokens method that processes the purchase, update purchasing state, and anything you want to do. The other example is it's an example on how user can call several methods into the contract, just passing the data signature. It's better to see with an example.
In the text, you provide example in the format of a test.
Yes, everything is in the repo as a test. Okay, is a
that's
calling
great.
method.
Yeah, Victoria, this is wonderful. You walk us through the process. You provided the base implementation. You give tests, unit tests, and integration tests, and you also shared npm package that makes it easier for people to depend on. And then you shared a payable crowd sale version to show how it can be used. That is like very, very inspiring. I think a lot of authors can learn from the process, how you standardize this. I know that we're kind of getting into the 20-minute time mark. I want to make sure that you have a few minutes to talk about learnings of the process, or like advice to, like, think of it. Let's say other people, like Ivan is proposing a new, Evan is thinking of proposing new ERCs. Cole, who has previously proposed RFCs from IETF, is coming into the space to propose TCTC that he's working on. To authors who are like you, who are like the 2020 version of you, what would be your overall learning and suggestions to authors, to these new authors or authors who want to go through this process?
You mean about the process to use the ERC 1363 standard?
To kind of come up with an ERC and go through this authoring procedure.
Sorry, say again, please.
So your advice to other authors who's writing ERCs, just like you, not like specifically using your, I'm not referring to advice to using your token, but rather now your audience is other ERC authors. What would you suggest them? Other ERC
authors. Yes, I suggest to always be updated with the the ERC community devs. And I want to thank you for organizing this meeting, for your time. Nothing. I will suggest to always study. The most important is to make tests on what we are building, because, as you know, we cannot fix a bug on production web smart contract, and also we can make our user to lost funds. So nothing. If you want, if you have any question, you can reach me on social or on GitHub, wherever you want. Nothing else.
Yeah, I think that's very helpful. And I think also one thing I noticed that you have done is you take ERC 721's on receiver as an inspiration. And
Yes.
which is quite some, like, I think that's a lot of ERC authors start off with their own great idea. Not many people were like you who also look into other ERCs to get inspiration, to apply the existing great method to new and important use case, right? Like ERC 7021 have this idea, but you applied it to ERC 20, which is more widely used and even more adopted beforehand. So that I would think is something I personally learned from when reading this 1363 in the first place as an author. So I would like to thank you for that.
Thank you to you.
Yeah. With that, I think we'll approaching the time for the featured topic. And I also like to kind of make sure that Evan and Cole has a chance to present. And then I think for authors like you, Victorio, who have gone through this process and then get us the adoption, it would be great that you will be able to give them advice as they kind of talk about their idea and these things. If without further ado, I think our next topic would be demo from Evan. Evan, I think you're bringing to us your new ideas, right?
Yeah, thanks. And I just had one question for Vittorio.
Yeah, go ahead.
What do you think is the most likely? You mentioned a couple uses like crowd sale, subscription, invoices. What do you think will be the most likely use of your standard?
I think we cannot limit our imagination. I would say, because if I will share just for a minute just to show you another implementation where this is an old project, a DAO, decentralized organization. So user can use tokens for joining the DAO, and then you stake token into the contract, and then using the dApp around the DAO. So in this way, it's really simple to make this action, because this is the function that stake for an account an amount of ERC 1363 token, and in this method, it checks if it is already member or not, create a new member, then stake the token into the contract. This is simple because you can transfer and call this method into the contract, and then so in a single transaction, the contract will create your membership if you have not, and stake the token. This is another example, but there is no a single example for this. So many cases we can see in the future, because every time you need to make an action when you transfer. It's useful for payments. So when for instance, when you use PayPal, or systems like credit card, fiat, or bank API, every time they make a callback on an IPN on the web server, so to notify the payments received. So then you can ship your from your commerce. This is the same approach.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Thank you.
Cool. Yeah. So as Victor said, I was going to demo my project that I've been working on. Let me share my screen and I'll give a quick overview. Okay, cool. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So this project I've been working on, I'm calling it Chain Relay. And it kind of came out of a specific need that I was having. And, you know, this could exist somewhere else. I just wasn't really aware of something really quick and easy. So I decided to make it. But basically, I was building a indexer service. So I was building a service that watched blocks on chain and indexed NFTs that were being minted. And I needed a quick way to just deploy an NFT and mint tokens in order to test that my indexer was working. And I was like, oh gosh, I don't want to set up like all this stuff in order to just test this really simple thing. I just want to be able to like quickly go deploy an NFT to test it. And furthermore, I wanted to be able to deploy different standards. So there's like different kinds of variations on 721 with like different extensions. And so like, oh, it'd be cool eventually if I could just really quickly go through the different standards, different extensions, deploy them all and make sure that my indexer was correctly picking them up. So anyway, that's the reason I created this. Right now, there's only one standard on here, just 721. And really, basically, I wanted to make it so that you could deploy it in like under 2 minutes. So you come here. So I'll just do a quick demo. I have connected to one of the Ethereum testnets, Sepolia here, and I have some testnet ETH. And so I just wanted to deploy a quick NFT contract. So, and give it a symbol and build. And so I've built it, and you can actually see the name. I don't know if my browser's big enough to illustrate this, but you can see the name update as I type. So yeah, so when you build it, you get the updated ABI and bytecode, and then you can deploy. And that generates, you know, whatever wallet you have connected, it'll throw a confirmation back. And then you can see the transaction hash listed on Etherscan. And so see if it updates correctly. The testnet Etherscans are a little slow. Okay, so you can see the contract was created. And right now, this morning, something always breaks when you're trying to demo. But right now, I'm using a public gateway to do checks for if something's deployed, and I'm not using like a paid thing like Alchemy or Infura. So I've noticed that some of these checks are failing. So once I start using Alchemy, it'll start to work. But you should see a deployed contract address here, and then once that's there, you can click verify, and then that will verify your contract on whatever Etherscan you're working on, whether it's like Optimism or a testnet or something like that, or mainnet Ethereum. But it's currently broken for this demo. And once that verification's there, you can go on Etherscan and, you know, interact with the contract, mint tokens, things like that. Now, so this is the current state. It's a contract that I have put on this website, and I have made certain fields editable on it. And so you can see, like, if I modify the symbol to something else, you can see that update here in the contract. And the way that I've got that to work is I have a, let me move this bar. I have a repository, and you can see here a link to GitHub. So if you click that link, basically I have this Ethereum repo, or sorry, this GitHub repo called Ethereum contracts. And this form is totally generated based on the files in this repo. So here's an implementation of ERC 721 with some basic choices that I've made around minting and base URI.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also define fields that can be, that represent values that you can enter into the contract. And so the goal here is for, in the future, anyone to be able to make a pull request to this repo. They put their contract implementation in with placeholders for field values and define the fields that they want in a field definition like this. And then once it gets merged into this repo, then it would show up here under community created contracts. And so anyone could just instantly deploy those contracts to whatever network they wanted. So for example, the contract we just saw, 1363, once this is created, someone could create, just copy one of those implementations and put it here, you know, define the implementation, define the fields that they want to be configurable on the contract. And then that will show up on the website and then anyone can deploy it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they wouldn't need to really understand anything. Like users wouldn't really need to understand anything about the like coding Solidity or whatever. It would just be like they fill out some form fields like they're doing here, and they can click build and deploy. And yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, this is great, Evan. I really like the idea. I have some things that I can show you as well, but also I just want to be mindful of time that the 10 minutes mark. I think the quick takeaway is that you're proposing this chain relay, and this repo, if people contribute the community created contracts, for example, if someone else will come in and says, hey, I think Victorio's 1369 is great. I'm gonna help make it easier to deploy, so I'm gonna contribute to move it to or fork it onto the chain-name / Ethereum contracts. It will show up there. It will be configurable, and you will make it super easy to deploy onto onto Ethereum and other EVM L1, L2s, right?
Yep, exactly.
So I think you come with a question that you're thinking of standardizing. What is that? And what kind of help do you think will be helpful for you to do the standardization so as to make everyone easier to use your chain relay?
So I don't have a standard I'm currently working on. This is purely to make standards more accessible. So it would give people a way to say, oh, like I want to deploy ENS. Like for example, you know, we all know the Ethereum name service. One idea I had was lowering the bar of complexity to deploy something like that. So somebody could put ENS in the ENS contracts and then make that deployable and have their own namespace. So yeah, I'm not working on anything specific, specific ERC, but I just wanted to make that whole process of trying it out and using it a lot easier.
That's awesome. That's totally awesome. And I think by the way, Evan, it was quite some time since we kind of contributed together on the 1202 voting standard. We think like there's this effort that I'm showing in the screen that ERC ref contract was kind of trying to bring like all ERCs that is being proposed or already finalized here, and then for authors to bring in or contributors to bring in their references separate implementation. And I already put some here. I also try to kind of put some idea about other existing reference implementation just to showcase what could be possible with the given standard. I think the thing that you did is making it super easy to deploy those things. And then I think there's I think there might be some synergy that we can talk together or work together in terms of bringing it up. So I just want to kind of show it to you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'll share it in the chat room. Cool. Is there any other comments, questions from you, Evan, or any questions from Victoria or Call to for suggestions to Evan or questions for him?
Yes, I have a question for Ivan, because we have a similar product just for deploying ERC20. This is the token generator. I share the link here in the chat if you want to take a look. We make people able to deploy different type of ERC20, maybe mintable, burnable, deflationary, or also ERC1363 with different access type.
That's really nice. That's really nice.
Yes, I want to ask you how you do manage the verification project, because the Etherscan or BSG scan or other Explorer need the flattened code. So in your template repository, you have just the contract implementation with the import. So then you flat all the code in the browser.
So what I'm doing, so actually, yeah, I'll answer your question there. So what I'm doing is actually, I have a Replit server running, and I have Hardhat running on that Replit server. So I'm not actually compiling contracts in the browser, which I would love to figure out how to do that, but I'm not doing that. I'm sending a request to a server. Hardhat's running on that server, it compiles it. And then what I'm doing is I'm just storing an ID. I send that ID back to the browser. And then when the user clicks verify, then a request goes to the server again, and I'm using the Hardhat plugin for verification. And so I'm just relying on Hardhat to do all of that. And I can share that code with you if you want, if you're curious about how it works. But yeah, it's all Hardhat. I didn't do anything special there.
Yes. Okay, good idea. We use the standard Etherscan or Explorer API via browser, but we have the already flattened code before when you deploy the contract. So it is always the same flattened code.
Gotcha. And to Victor's question, it's the ABI and the bytecode are deployed from the browser. So the user, it's totally, there's no signing key server side. It's all on the user wallet provider to do the deployment.
That's awesome.
Okay,
yeah.
great.
Yeah. That is great. I can think of a question that I can follow up with you, which is about security and avoid phishing. But that might be a whole different topic, and also maybe we'll not talk about that on a recorded line. Yeah. So cool. Alrighty, Evan, this is great. Thank you for sharing this. I think it's gonna be very helpful, and I'm going to circulate around advocating for this platform that you built to make it easier for people to deploy smart contracts. Thank you so much. With of time, I want to also make sure that Cole has the opportunity to talk about his TCTC, which is short for token controlled tickets circulating, if I remember correctly. This is probably already very late in Cole's time zone, so I want to make sure that he has a chance. So Cole, thank you for coming, and yeah, can you share with us that? And then I think we're about like 5-10 minutes left, and we also have a final question we want to ask in the end as well. So yeah, go ahead when you're ready.
Can you see
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay. I'm Kojimura. Thank you again for giving me an opportunity to talk about my first ERC proposal. This is my first time in this forum, so please allow me to briefly introduce myself. I'm newbie in this community, but more than 20 years ago, I participated in development of standardization in IETF in making a platform to circulate ticket, coupon, and vouchers. And I published these RFC. That's information about RFC. So these documents specified voucher trading systems and XML voucher, a language for defining vouchers, and also defines VTS voucher trading system API. Voucher is a digital representation of right to claim goods or services that's similar to NFT. But it was very old era, so there's no blockchain at that time. I published a paper, digital ticket controlled digital ticket circulation in 1999. This is a basic idea of TCTC that I'm going to talk about today. So I'm very happy to present this concept. So I'm going on my presentation. TCTC is a simple access control scheme. By representing the privileges associated with role as an NFT, the process of granting or revoking a role can be implemented through the minting of burning transaction of controlling control token, corresponding control token. The control token itself can be any type of token, and its transaction may be recursively controlled by another control token. As you know, there are several types of access control scheme. For example, OpenZeppelin introduced two types of access control scheme, ownable and roles. My proposal is another additional scheme within the same layer. Next, I will talk about the actual use cases. Access control, which determines who can execute specific functions, is very important in context of smart contracts. So the use case for TCTC are broad and not limited to the following. But there are some, these are very typical ones, so I'd like to explain detail. One use case is mint permission. This is very simple case. Let's consider a situation where a company wants to distribute my token to their customers. My token can be any token, but I assume that this is a kind of ticket to watch some content at the content delivery server. If the company has several branches and they want to grant minting privileges to their branches, this can be achieved by issuing minter certificate in the form of control token to each branch office. This one, minter certificate. The branch office can then mint tokens, this token, and distribute them to the customers via their own website using connecting MetaMask and so, like something like this.
So basically, the company in your example of use case, the headquarter will mint the NFT as an authorization, just like a certificate to mint, and then the branch office with the certificate with the NFT are now eligible to mint other things in the future, right? That's the basic.
That's right. Thank you for.
Yeah. Cool. I think that is pretty clear, and it can also control transfer or other permissions. So I wonder if you want to spend another 1 or 2 minutes to dive into the standard that you're proposing, and so that people can have like a few more minutes to kind of give you a suggestion as we are limited in time.
I first of all, I would like to share this slide to I will no time, so skip what standardized this the draft version of ERC is I made already, but this is very simple one, so only two one functions and another one is a modifier. So there is no new interface definition are needed. So some people say that this is just design pattern for managing privileges. So why standardized is needed? But and also I understand that many DAO are already implementing access control through tokens. However, the concept of TC/TC is not widely understood, and role-based access control being adopted where TC/TC is more appropriate. I believe that by making TC/TC in ERC, it will promote the implementation of access control and broaden the application of tokens. But that's time is
time is
short.
But I think this is super valuable. One thing that I really like about having TC/TC is that it basically standardizes how roles are implemented and how roles are granted. So we hope that things like wallets and other interfaces can show user what role they have in a more standardized way. And also DAO interface, future UI or web the app of DAOs or other things can also be easily notified for roles or the capability that user have by owning certain NFTs or to control it. So I think this is very helpful, and I have been very supportive in this direction. Maybe due to the time that we don't have much to talk about, but this is still an early and even before it's drafting. So I think by bringing it to the audience of here, I think it's a good starting point, and then we can move forward with seeing the draft, and then everyone else can also comment on it. Yeah.
Thank you for your advice.
Yeah, cool. Cool. Thank you so much. I think we're about time. And then there's just one last question that I have been circulating and asked. And since I think early contributor like Vittorio has been here, Ivan, who is trying to kind of facilitate easy deployments, is here, and Cole, who is a future ERC authors as well. So this question, or basically a proposal to move ERCs out from the EIP repository, and the general concept is trying to see that if they can evolve into two different processes to make it easier for ERC authors and ERC editors. though I think there is a lot of difficulties that this doesn't solve. I want to kind of ask how people think. What are your views if you about this proposal of removing ERCs out from the EIPs? I have been kind of leaning towards. I don't want to like share my views before like hearing yours, so I don't influence you. But let me show you the proposal.
I don't care.
Oh, you don't care.
It's okay either way, but I think EIP editor is very too busy. So I think it depends on EIP editors, which is better to manage. I don't care. So
Yeah, thank you, Cole. You don't care. You think ERC EIP authors are very busy, and it has been difficult for them to manage. What about Victoria? Do you have an opinion at all, or do you don't care?
Have you already a proposal on? Have you an issue open or something? Well,
Issue open.
because you want to move the ERC out from the AP repository, but how do you think to handle new issue, new proposal? Do you want to discuss on another repository and then you share this?
Yeah.
And then you move on the official AP.
So I think the proposal, by the way, I'm not a endorser of that proposal, but it seems like that proposal has been supported by a good number of people. So I think that proposes idea is that they are saying that for ERCs, you just go to this repository, propose it, and then it will be published in this repository. For EIP, for other EIPs, it will be going to the other EIP, like the original ones, and it will go through its own process, and then it will be published there. So basically, a parting ways of this.
Yeah, I support it because I think that's a common point of confusion for new Ethereum developers is like the mixture of EIP and ERC. And like it would be, I think, maybe a little helpful for people to understand that like a clear distinction between this is a spec that like applications can or cannot adhere to. And then EIPs are like changing the Ethereum protocol itself. At least that's the way I understand it. So I remember I was confused about the difference when I first started learning about Ethereum. So
You felt that it could potentially help people differentiating ERCs, and in that sense, you felt supportive of it.
yeah.
Yeah, Victoria. Sorry, I keep saying Victoria, but Victoria, because I am Victor, so it's just so natural for me to pronounce it. I'm sorry for that. Yeah.
I think it may create some confusion because we already has a page on the AP where all the finalized ERC are listed now. The ERC is one of the category listed in the EAP1. So people in Ethereum development already know that ERC are mixed with the core or other issue. I don't know at this moment if could be better to have a separate repository just for ERC or not.
you think it will potentially cause confusion, because that's what ERC EIP1 has been referring as all the time, and also you are unsure if this is going to help the problem. Is that a clear classification of what you meant?
Yes, also it's difficult to edit an old AP. That this is also ERC because they are in the same repository. Because there could be already production contracts or something else that is using. So I don't know because maybe people should check both at the beginning, or maybe people should be redirected from the AP1 to the new repository. Yes, I know it's confusing to have both here, but I think it will be also confusing to have it in different repository, right? The state of the art.
That's true. Yeah, I think that is a fair statement as well. Yeah, but thank you. I think that's very helpful. I just want to kind of flag this to your awareness, and feel free to comment on it. I think some of the EIP editors have concerns. We have been also circulating the idea to other community members. And so I think what we hear today is with Alan and Vittorio and Cole is one, Cole doesn't care, Alan supported, and Vittorio has concern. So it's pretty it's pretty balanced. Like in a group of three, it's very hard to get the balance. Like we're very lucky to have a diverse mind. That's great. Thank you for this. And also I think we're about already over time. Thank you for all your contributions and time. We continue to strive to bring ERC authors and the app builders together. So even though next time maybe someone else is presenting, we really look forward to seeing you here to give other people comments and feedback, or to bring them inspirations of what other things you see. And then also please recommend other speakers or who have great ideas to this forum. Thank you all. This call will be uploaded to YouTube soon, and then I wish that we can see you next time together.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.